Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon, 1st Viscount St. Alban, 22nd January 1561 to 9 April 1626. Also known as Lord Verulam, was an English philosopher, statesman who served as Attorney General and as Lord Chancellor of England. His works are seen as developing the scientific method and remained influential through the scientific revolution. Bacon has been called the father of empiricism. He argued for the possibility of scientific knowledge based only upon inductive reasoning and careful observation of events in nature. Most importantly, he argued science could be achieved by the use of a skeptical and methodical approach whereby scientists aim to avoid misleading themselves. Although his most specific proposals about such a method, the Baconian method, did not have long-lasting influence. The general idea of the importance and possibility of a skeptical methodology makes Bacon the father of the scientific method. This method was a new rhetorical and theoretical framework for science, whose practical details are still central to debates on science and methodology. Bacon was the first recipient of the Queen's Counsel designation conferred in 1597 when Elizabeth I of England reserved him as her legal adviser after the accession of James VI and I in 1603. Bacon was knighted, then created Baron Verulam in 1618 and Viscount St. Alban in 1621. Scientific works, The Great Instauration, Partitions of the Sciences De Augmentis Scientiarum, 2. New Method Novum Organum, 3. Natural History, Historia Naturalis, 4. Ladder of the Intellect, Scala Intellectus, 5. Anticipations of the Second Philosophy, Anticipations Philosophiae Secunda, 6. The Second Philosophy or Active Science, Philosophy Secunda aut Scientia Activae, Novum Organum, New Method, Idols of the Tribe, Idola Tribus, which are common to the race, Idols of the Den, Idola Specus, which are peculiar to the individual, Idols of the Marketplace, Idola Fori, coming from the misuse of language, and Idols of the Theatre, Idola Theaturi, which stem from philosophical dogmas. Printing, gunpowder, and the compass. These three have changed the whole face and state of things throughout the world, the first in literature, the second in warfare, the third in navigation, whence have followed innumerable changes, insomuch that no empire, no sect, no star seems to have exerted greater power and influence in human affairs than these mechanical discoveries. Advancement of learning. He divided history in divine history, or the history of religion, human or political history, and natural history. Poetry he divided in narrative, natural, historical, poetry, dramatic, human. Poetry, the kind of which the ancients used to educate the minds of men to virtue, and divine, parabolic poetry, in which the secrets and mysteries of religion, policy, and philosophy are involved in fables or parables. Philosophy he divided in divine, natural, and human, which he referred to as the triple character of the power of God, the difference of nature, and the use of man. Valerius Terminus, the interpretation of nature, All knowledge appeareth to be a plant of God's own planting, so it may seem the spreading and flourishing, or at least the bearing and fructifying of the plant, by a providence of God, nay, not only by a general providence, but by a special prophecy, was appointed to this autumn of the world. For to my understanding it is not violent to the letter, and safe now after the event, so to interpret that place in the prophecy of Daniel, where, speaking of the latter times, it is said, Many shall pass to and fro, and science shall be increased, Daniel 12:4, as if the opening of the world by navigation and commerce and the further discovery of knowledge should meet in one time or age. The new Atlantis. But hear me now, and I will tell you what I know. You shall understand that there is not under the heavens so chaste a nation as this of Salem, nor so free from all pollution or foulness. It is the Virgin of the world. I remember I have read in one of your European books of a holy hermit amongst you that desired to see the spirit of fornication, and there appeared to him a little foul, ugly Ethiope. But if he had desired to see the spirit of chastity of Salem, it would have appeared to him in the likeness of a fair, beautiful cherubim. For there is nothing amongst mortal men and more fair and admirable than the chaste minds of this people. Know therefore that with there are no stews, no dissolute houses, no courtesans, nor anything of that kind. And their usual saying is that whosoever is unchaste and cannot reverence himself, and they say the reverence of a man's self is next to religion, the chiefest bridle of all vices. The wisdom of the ancients. The myth of Proteus serves, according to Bacon, to adumbrate the path to extracting truth from matter. In his interpretation of the myth, Bacon finds Proteus to symbolize all matter in the universe, for the person of Proteus denotes matter and the oldest of all things after God himself that resides as in a cave under the vast concavity of the heavens. Much of Bacon's explanation of the myth deals with Proteus's ability to elude his would-be captors by shifting into various forms. But if any skillful minister of nature shall apply force to matter, and by design torture and vex it, on the contrary, changes and transforms itself into a strange variety of shapes and appearances, so that at length, running through the whole circle of transformations, and completing its period, it in some degree restores itself if the force be continued. Meditationes Sacri. Of the works of God and man, of the miracles of our Saviour, of the innocence of the dove and the wisdom of the serpent, of the exaltation of charity, of the moderation of cares, of earthly hope, of hypocrites, of impostors, of several kinds of imposture, of atheism, of heresies, of the church and the scriptures, theological tracts, a prayer or psalm made by the Lord Bacon, Chancellor of England, a prayer made and used by Lord Chancellor Bacon, the student's prayer, the writer's prayer, a confession of faith.